It is a huge honor today to be podcast interviewing Brandon Rodman, who's the founder of GetWeave.com. And you are just crushing it, man. He's the CEO and founder of Weave, a communication system for small and medium businesses. Weave was the first Utah company to join Combinator, the top startup accelerator that has backed companies like Dropbox, AirBNB, Stripe, and Zenefits. We've launched out of beta in January 2014, has raised an amazing $23 million in funding, and currently provides the communication tools for nearly 3,000 small businesses throughout the United States. Brandon graduated from Brigham Young University in 2010, has been married for almost 12 years, and like me, unfortunately has 4 children. Are you surviving those 4 children, Brandon?
Yes, I am. Some days surviving better than others.
Well, we should have a independent one night a month self-help deal on how to deal with 4 kids. Mine are 21, 23, 25, 27. How old are yours?
Oh, wow. 9, 7, 4, and 2.
Okay, so this is what you're going to look like in 20 years. So just look at me now, and that's how you're going to fall apart in the next 20 years.
I'll start preparing my wife.
I just want to say one thing on children. It's like sitting on a lawn chair on the ocean, having, fun, and you don't know there's a hurricane about 100 miles out to shore, and their hurricane is when they get their car keys. So one by one, 4 of my perfect boys all got a set of car keys, and that's when all hell breaks loose. But hardest job you'll ever love. So tell my homies that aren't aware of Weave. What is GetWeave.com? And if they go to GetWeave.com, what do they see? What do you do? And how did you get 2,600 dentists to do this?
So Weave is a communication platform. So imagine every single type of communication that a dental office would need to do with their patients. Our goal is to provide all of that in one platform. So we started with telephone service. Everybody pays somebody for phone service. But the unfortunate thing is you get dumb phone service from Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, local phone companies. There's nothing special about that helps a dentist be a better dentist. And the average phone bill for phone service is $250 a month. Now we come in, we provide that phone service. We sync that phone service up with the dental software. We sync with Dentrix, EagleSoft, PracticeWorks, SoftDent, Open Dental. We sync with 95% of the practice management software in the dental space. So just on the phone service component, when a patient calls in, everything about that patient is going to pop up automatically on the computer screen. You're never going to have to ask them what their name is, how to spell their last name, who their family members are. You're never going to have to look up to see when a birthday's coming, when their next appointment is, if they're overdue and should schedule an appointment. Everything pops up automatically. So we then layered on text messaging, two-way texting. We put appointment confirmations on their appointment reviews, online Google, Facebook reviews, and have been kept continually layering on different ways to communicate with patients, both offline and online.
And so what is the end goal? Just to make your front office administration faster, more efficient?
So the end goal, there's a couple of different things. One, the efficiency. So imagine never missing out on a revenue generating opportunity for a business again. Never missing bringing up and trying to schedule a patient for their next appointment when they're overdue. Running out of time for that. Another end goal is to strengthen the relationship with a patient. Now imagine you call into your dental office because you want to figure out when your next appointment is because you forgot to write it down. Well, when you call in, they're going to say, Howard, good to hear from you. Your appointment's on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Glad you called in. I have a couple things I was going to reach out to you for to go over with you. And we create that task list, that to-do list right there on the call. They don't have to click through their dental software in multiple places to see what they should do. So as a patient, you're going to feel more taken care of, which should strengthen that relationship. The last thing is to simplify the communication process. A lot of the communication is somewhat archaic. Call somebody, leave a voicemail, they never call you back. And then you can't get a hold of people. Most people today are communicating via text, and we find that when our customers sign up with us, they start using text messaging immediately. In fact, we have regular reports of dental offices scheduling over 30% of all of their appointments just via text message, never talking to the patient on the phone.
And does your front office do this on their desktop, or do you have this into another smartphone on the side?
So we provide it both on the desktop and from a mobile app for both Android and iOS. So when they're in the office, they're going to have their desk phone and they're working in front of their computer. And we have a piece of software that pops up on the computer. They can access everything they need from there. When they walk out of the office or step away from their desk, they can access everything from their mobile app, everything from their whole entire patient database to their daily schedule. They can call patients from their office number, from their mobile app. They can text with patients, everything.
That is truly amazing. Now, you're in, is it pronounced Lehi, Utah? Lehi?
It is, yep.
Now, is that a suburb of Provo?
It is about 20 minutes north of Provo, 30 minutes south of Salt Lake City.
30 minutes south of Salt Lake.
Yep.
And how far north of Provo?
About 20 minutes north.
So that's where Dentrix was out of Provo, what, 1993 or 1990? When did that start?
Yeah, it was, I think, in the early 90s. They were acquired by Henry Schein in 97, and their office building is one city south of us. It's 2 minutes down the freeway to get to their office.
And they were the original Microsoft. That was their, I think, their most genius outside is they knew that Microsoft and Intel and Dell and Cisco
was gonna take over.
And they were the first ones to just start a Windows-driven platform from scratch, whereas the old legacy systems like SoftNet were trying to make it look like it was a Windows, but it was still basically a DOS platform. It didn't do the Microsoft Windows cut and paste and all that stuff. What I always wondered is, when I see companies like yours, why didn't Dentrix do this? I mean, how did they miss the obvious?
So the obvious is oftentimes counterintuitive. So it's easy to spot the obvious after the fact. So the origins of our company didn't come with, hey, let's build telephone service and communication tools and put them all in one place and make it work with the dental software. It actually started from, we had a scheduling service that we would call the overdue patients for a dental office. We would do their recall for them.
You did this yourself? You had a company?
We did. Yeah, so we started it in 2008. And Weave was a result of what we saw happening in the industry and where we thought the industry needed to go. We would call patients in the evening to schedule them for their next appointment. We'd use the dental office phone number. And over the course of about 4 years, we had called hundreds of thousands of overdue patients all across the US, scheduled tens of thousands for their next appointment. And we constantly struggled when a patient would ask us a question, trying to find that answer in the dental software quickly and efficiently without wasting the patient's time. So we immediately thought, wow, it'd be really nice if all this information popped up. Well, it turned out after we looked into that really the only way to do it right was to actually be the phone service provider. So we replace Comcast, AT&T, Verizon when somebody signs up with us. And then the other problem we were running into is we were leaving voicemails for patients. And surprise, they would never call back to schedule. We thought, I bet if I sent them a text message and it came directly from me, and it was very personal, didn't look automated, they'd probably reply, or some of them would. And so that's where everything originated from, was that idea. And of course, it looks obvious today, but it wasn't obvious back then. Providing phone service is not an easy thing to do. It's something that's difficult, especially at scale. Providing it for a couple customers is easy, but when you start getting to scale like us with 2,800 total customers, 2,600 dental practices throughout the US using it today, it takes a lot of investment, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of technology to run that.
So are you available now in all 50 states?
I don't think we're in Hawaii. And there are pockets, and I don't know about Alaska. I think there's pockets in Alaska that we cover. But our system requires a good internet connection. And occasionally we run into spots in the US where there just isn't good internet to provide our service.
Can you help? Can you provide services in Canada?
We can, but we don't.
So right
So
now it's a U.S. operation.
it is, yes.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I look at those. I look at so many. I mean, name all these other adjunct to Dentrix. I mean, Demand Force, Light. What's the Light?
Lighthouse,
Lighthouse. What's the one Fred Joyle has? 1-800 Dentist.
100 dentist,
Uh,
yep.
Patient Activator.
Yes.
I mean, you can just rattle off a dozen names of companies. It's like this should have been in Dentrix 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. So then when I tell them that they need to hook up to an accounting service because every dentist in Utah is signing up for 8 to 12 different PPOs, and he's got 12 different prices for everything. Since he doesn't pay his bills with Dentrix, when he goes, the computer would know the cost of an hour in that operatory. So when you go to schedule, I mean, if you're only getting 130 for a filling and you scheduled, $180 worth of time, it could tell you.
Yep.
You're losing money doing this. And I think
Yep.
and I'm only telling you that because I think you might be the only genius out there that could do that, where you could sit there and connect Quicken online with Dentrix and EagleSoft and on all these deals so that when you schedule that appointment, a pop-up screen could say, dude, your hygienist cost, the total room cost $98 an hour, and you just scheduled $75 worth of stuff. So don't give her an hour, give her 50 minutes or 45 minutes, and if you can't do it, then drop that PPO plan,
Well, the interesting thing that's happening is technology is being able to uncover a lot of things. One, it's being able to reduce costs for dentists, but also give them the option to make more money, especially if they combine the right things. So when you look at Weave, we replace their phone service, an average of a $250 bill in their office. We then also replace companies like Demand Force, Solution Reach, Lighthouse. We can fully replace those companies today. And those companies charge anywhere from $300 to $379 a month. Now, we also do some marketing tracking, call recording. Now, dental offices are paying for those services as well, $100, $200 or more a month. There's a handful of other things that we can replace, and we charge $350 a month for our core product. The core product does not include the Google and Facebook reviews. If you want that, it's $450 a month. And most people are charging $300 a month for Google and Facebook reviews. We charge $100. It doesn't cost that much to provide those things, especially when you bring it all into one place. So it's kind of, I look at it, it's somewhat ridiculous for people to pay $300 to $400 a month for an automated text message the robot's sending out.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. I mean, so you're providing a service that's faster, easier, higher quality, lower in cost. Bing, bing,
Exactly.
bing, 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 bing. Yep. I mean, that is a home run out of the park. That is amazing. And these dentists also, they have no idea that when they do their marketing, that 3 people on average will call from that marketing, and your front desk will only convert 1 to a scheduled appointment. And then that same dentist goes to every continuing education seminar by themselves to save money, while their front office is dropping the ball on 2 out of 3 conversions to a patient because you haven't trained her, educated her. I mean, she's going to answer all the questions. So why are you going to an implant seminar by yourself?
Yep, totally. Well, even imagine there is at the front desk recording every single call, and then being able to go back and listen to those calls, or have somebody on your staff listen to those calls with the front staff employee once a month and ask, how could you improve these? Like that's free with our system. When you sign up, you get that ability to go back and listen to that stuff. You can listen to it from your mobile phone at home, or you can go into the office and listen to it there from your desktop.
And when all the calls are recorded, it just changes human behavior. I mean, you'll do stuff in your bathroom that you won't do at the kitchen table at dinner.
Totally.
And I mean, everyone in retail knows that if you put a camera above the cash register, that stealing drops off 99%. So if your receptionist is a human, so if he answers the phone and knows it's being recorded, he's on stage. He's on Broadway. It's live.
So exactly, it's being recorded, but at the same time, you just had a pop-up on the computer screen that said, schedule Johnny, schedule Mark, schedule Lacey. Did you schedule them? Did you even ask? You now have this level of accountability that never existed before. And it wasn't their fault before. They had to individually click and look through the dental software while trying to answer the patient's question or resolve their concern. So they didn't have time to do these. We've now taken that whole time element and removed it and said, here's the most basic information that people typically call about. Here's the answer for it. And then here are the things you need to do to be proactive on this call.
So basically, this is what would you call this, augmented reality? I mean, not virtual reality, but augmented reality, because you're taking technology to augment a decision-making process by adding information to it. Is that what it's called?
So I wouldn't call it augmented reality. What I would call it is, this is a very technical term for it, but contextual data delivery. So we're presenting the right information at the right time automatically without you needing to think about it, to hopefully improve that interaction, whether it's a financial improvement or it's strengthening a relationship. So it's a loyalty improvement.
And I know you can't answer this question, but it is Dentistry Uncensored. A lot of the young kids are wondering what software system they should use. So they're working at Aspen, Heartland, they're working for an associate for the old man up the street, and they want to start their own practice. They see Soft Dentrix, EagleSoft, Open Dental, all these. Do you think any of them are more or better than the others?
I think I don't think switching, this is just my personal view, the dental software itself is not going to compensate for being a bad businessman or businesswoman or making poor decisions. So I wouldn't be switching dental software to think it can turn around your business. Now, from a technology standpoint, there are some that are easier for us to integrate with. Grab data and present that data at the right time. Open Dental has been a fantastic partner for us. Their name says it all. It's open. We don't have to reach out to them to ask, hey, can we extract this data and use it? It's available to us. And we've heard from lots of other developers. They're able to develop on their platform easily. Now, the other guys are coming around, Dentrix and EagleSoft. They're both building some platforms that make it easier. But Open Dental's been really easy. At least this is what my developers have told us.
Yeah, that's our 2017 goal. First quarter of 2017, we're going to switch from Soft Dent to Open Dental. I mean,
okay.
I started with that in 1987.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm 29 years into this. Just for technical deals, what does it mean when someone will say drop AT&T and switch to VoIP, VoIP? So
most likely they're using VoIP already with AT&T. So same with Comcast, same with Verizon or any of the major phone companies. So voice over IP just simply means your phone calls are traveling over the internet versus the copper telephone lines. And that's the way everything's going. It's much cheaper to provide. All the major companies are required to be moving to that technology. Copper lines are going away. That doesn't mean landlines are going away. These VoIP lines will keep going to businesses. But basically, you don't need to pay AT&T for phone service. AT&T is never going to sync up with dental software. They're never going to do it. They don't care that somebody's a dentist. And so it's the same idea
but I'm
as
special.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if I handed you a cell phone from the 90s, a gigantic brick cell phone, and said, hey, here's your specialized phone. This is a business phone. It won't go out. It's going to be great. You're going to look at it and then look over at your iPhone and you're going to say, this is ridiculous. We're trying to come in with the iPhone or the smartphone for the dental industry.
So if you're switching from AT&T to a internet VoIP, voice over internet protocol, how reliable is that VoIP compared to the internet? I mean, to AT&T.
So AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, because they have had so many customers, they've been around forever. They're constantly improving their system. They're able to scale. They're able to handle a lot. But phone service just by itself is not a perfect science. I mean, pull out your cell phone right now. I guarantee you don't have 5 bars. So, and they're putting billions of dollars into that infrastructure every single year to improve it. So our system compared to theirs, you do need to have a good internet connection. It doesn't need to be amazingly fast, but it needs to be fast enough. Fortunately, internet speeds are increasing all across the board. We've had customers who signed up for us back in 2012, 2013, 2014, who their internet speeds weren't fast enough at the time, that have since called us again and said, my internet sped up. Now, there's other things within the business that you can do to optimize for voice over IP, for streaming of services that prioritize certain data on your network over others. So instead of making sure the YouTube or Facebook video that your front staff member is watching when you're not looking, you're not around, is in HD, we'll make sure the phones are working really well. You're never guaranteed a certain speed from your internet providers. If you pay for 25 megabits per second, you may only get 5 at certain times. But with the right setup, anybody can be successful with VoIP.
You really feel with the right setup, but you got to be in a dental office with a solid internet connection.
With a solid internet connection, needs to be somewhere between 5 and 10 megabits per second. But it also depends on how big your office is, what the requirements are. In an office that has 3 or 4 employees and 3 or 4 phones in their office, they don't need 50 megabits per second. They're not going to use those speeds. But there's other things, the type of router that is in the business can impact everything from streaming Netflix to phone service. Making sure you have the right router, making sure you have the right setup, the right internet provider, making sure your wiring is up to date. There's a handful of things, but we've installed over 2,800 dental practices since 2012. We've seen just about everything you can possibly see, every type of scenario, and we constantly improve our system when we see more. So we rarely run into a situation where we install our system and then we find out it can't work in that office. We do lots of testing beforehand to let them know what they need to do to optimize the situation. And typically we send an IT guy into the dental office to make sure from day one it's a good experience and it's installed properly.
So you said it also feeds Facebook and Google reviews.
It does. Yep. We launched that earlier this year.
It does what?
We launched that earlier this year as part of our platform. So what it? Sorry about that. So what it does is when a patient leaves your office, we will send them a text message saying, it was great to see you. Looking forward to next time. If you wouldn't mind, click on the link below and leave us a review. And when they click on that link on their smartphone, then it's going to open up and ask them if they had a good or bad experience. If the patient says a bad experience, it will actually open up an email for them to type in what the experience was, and that sends directly to the dentist. If they click they had a good experience, it's actually going to take them directly to Google Maps, to the spot where you leave a 5-star review, take them there automatically so they can do that easily. Or it'll take them directly to Facebook, their Facebook page, to leave that review right there. So it's seamless for the patient, very easy to use, and it's only an extra $100 instead of $300 with somebody else.
In dental school, I lived in a house with 5 guys that 3 of the 5 were in dental school together. And one of them is Bob Brewing. He's in St. Joe, Missouri. He posted yesterday on Dental Town, love Weave, great system, great support, great way to bump up your reviews, thus higher on search, auto appointment messenger, auto patient file pop-up. My staff raves about it. He's my, and what I'm proud about that is I'm 54. Most of my 54-year-old friends are technology dead. I mean, I mean, really. And which leads me to my next question is, I noticed you didn't mention Yelp, and in my 54 laps around the sun, I've never been with a group of dentists where somebody used Yelp. I mean, we've never been like 4 dentists in a car and someone said, hey, where do you want to eat? And someone said, well, let's go read Yelp. I noticed you didn't mention Yelp. What's how come you didn't mention Yelp? You mentioned Facebook and Google, but not Yelp.
Yeah. So most people are going to Facebook and Google for these things, for the most part. So Yelp would like to be in that position. We've had conversations with Yelp. We actually do support Yelp today, but Yelp does not want you sending a text message to a patient saying, will you leave me a review? They think that's going to skew their results. They don't want good reviews. They want good reviews if they're authentic. They don't want you to encourage people to leave good reviews. Now, that doesn't work very well when you send somebody a text message saying, hey, check us out on Yelp. Most of them aren't going to leave a review on Yelp when you say, check us out. They're going to leave a review when you say, hey, if you wouldn't mind, will you leave us a review? So it's much easier to say, leave us a review and send them to Facebook and Google.
But how old are you?
35.
Okay, so you're 35. My oldest son's 27. Do you think Yelp is more a younger, 30 under millennial thing? Do you actually know a bunch of 55-year-old older dentists that personally use Yelp?
I don't, and I can tell you, we actually looked at our customer base and how many people are using Yelp at any kind of a scale that would make any sense for us to keep moving forward, and there's only 10. That's out of almost 1,000 people, 1,000 offices this year alone that signed up for that service with us.
Only 10 use Yelp.
Exactly. Very few. And that I don't know what the demographics are of those 10. My parents don't use Yelp.
They're probably dental students.
They actually could be. So
they're dental students at U of P or Manhattan. One last question on Yelp. I know this isn't a Yelp interview, but why is Yelp so controversial on Dental Town? I mean, every thread about Yelp is a bunch of screaming, upset dentists. Why do you think they're so? I mean, you don't ever see them getting all upset about Facebook reviews or Google reviews, but gosh darn Yelp I mean, there's so many bonfire threads on Dental Town about Yelp. Hell, just do a search for Yelp and read the titles of the threads.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't have a good answer for that. Other than Facebook and Google are okay with you asking people to leave you a review, and Yelp isn't. And typically what you're going to see, unless you ask people to leave you a review, the only people that are going to go onto a service to leave a review are people that are upset, that they're trying to find an outlet, and you've got to somehow mitigate the negativity that can take place. People feel anonymous online, and so they say things that they normally wouldn't say in person. And I think Google and Facebook, you can counter that. Yelp, you can't. Yelp wants people to come on and leave their honest review, whether it's good or bad. That's not good for business, ultimately, in a public setting.
Speaking about what's not good for business, there's 50 states, and Utah, for median dentist income, is dead bottom. It has the lowest median income for a dentist in the United States. Why is Utah? Do you think there's just too many dentists? Is it why do you think that is?
I did not know that stat. That's interesting.
It's dead last. That's why when they were talking about opening up dental schools, I was screaming like, no, you're the last state in the world that needs a dental school, let alone 2. I thought that was insane to add supply.
The last state that should be teaching people how to run a profitable business.
Yeah, check that out on Bureau of Labor Statistics. I thought I just really didn't think Utah needed 2 dental schools.
Yeah, I don't know why that's the case. I don't know if just culturally in Utah, people are more price sensitive, so dentists come in at that price, or I don't know what's causing that. It'd be interesting. Well, part of our plan as a company is we have unique insights into businesses. When you combine all of the information from the dental software Then you layer on top of that every single piece of communication that goes through our servers, every phone call, who answered the call, who placed the call, who sent the text message, who received it, what was said, what was accomplished, what wasn't. At some point, we're going to start doing some benchmarking and showing businesses how they stack up, whether it's in the same zip code, same state, across the country, similar business size or patient size, those kinds of things. It'd be interesting to start seeing some of those things just get put out there a little bit more front and center so people can really see what's happening.
Well, you're a total businessman. I mean, anybody that can raise $23 million in venture capital is amazing. Everybody listening to you right now is probably alone. They're commuting to work in a car is about 85% of them. The other 15% on a treadmill, doing laundry, cleaning the house. So they're all by themselves and they just know their office. You've seen thousands and thousands of dental offices. What low-hanging fruit tips could you get them if they were saying, we're in a rut, our overhead's high, I'm not making the money I thought I was going to make? What do you see in the variance that explains more successful practices versus less successful practices?
So the first thing, speaking from a technology standpoint, is kind of where I see things. First thing is, if you're not texting, two-way texting, having conversations via texting, you are missing the biggest opportunity available to you as a business. The open rate on text messages, the view rate is like 98 or 99%. You send a message, they're going to see it. Now, if you put a question mark in that text message, the response rate is about 70%. You can't get anywhere near that kind of a response rate by placing calls. People will text you back. And the things are changing. When you text people, it does not mean they're going to cancel their appointment just because you texted them. So being able to actually communicate with people the way that they want to communicate is important instead of trying to hold on to how you want to communicate. And that really just fundamentally gets to the idea of run the business the way your patients will respond to. Build up the type of patient base you want, but you've got to always be, and it's the same rule for building a company, a software company, you've got to talk to your users. You've got to talk to your customers. You have to listen. And then you have to deliver something that they may not have been telling you they wanted because they didn't know really what they wanted. But you were able to figure that out and you delivered it to them. And it's more than what they thought they were going to get. So I think text messaging is by far.
Okay, you said text them a message, 99% open rate. Text them a question, you get a 70% reply. Okay, yep. Now give us the same numbers if that was an email.
So email, you're going to see maybe a 20% open rate on the emails. That's a very high open rate for emails, and you know that because you guys do email blasts. The click-through rate can be anywhere from 1 to 5% typically. And that's even for appointment reminders, where you're asking somebody to click confirmed in there. So
and then compared to, I left a message on your voicemail at home that you have an appointment to get your teeth cleaned.
So we don't have those stats, but I think any front staff member will tell you it's the most frustrating thing in the world. Leave a voicemail, they never call you back. And you end up going in that morning and you've got 10 appointments that aren't confirmed for the day, and you've called them 3 or 4 times.
You know, when I'm listening to you and your story, and who's your buddy down here in Arizona? I had dinner with a couple weeks ago in Mesa.
Is it Sky?
Yeah,
one of our sales guys.
Yeah, Sky. What's his name?
Sky Pove.
Sky Pove, great guy.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But every time I hear that story, I always think, why the hell did Brandon go into dentistry when 911? You're on the road. You can't text 911. You got to call. And they're asking these questions, and you're telling about a wreck. Why can't I just open up my iPhone, film, so they can see the car, the wreck, have the video file? Then the police and the firemen responding, they're seeing the video. They're seeing if the car's upside down. They're seeing, they're asking you, well, was it blue? It's yellow. It's like, why is this a voice call?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you, a third world? What am I calling? Botswana? I mean, why can you not text 911?
Yeah. It's baffling. I would say
it's criminally incompetent. It's a bad guy. It's a robbery, and you're calling, 7-Eleven's getting held up right now. Oh, well, how
What,
tall is the guy? Give
yeah,
us a
exactly. Will you
description.
describe? Tell me what he looks like.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be seeing it in video, you moron. You wouldn't want to be dispatching this to the cops so they can see the man you're talking about, or a fight, or a disturbance, or a car wreck, or a medical emergency. I mean, I think that is just like one of the reasons this election lasted was so crazy is I don't think anybody was really, I think they were just voting against 20 years of government incompetency.
Yeah. Well, so the interesting thing is nothing's changed other than everybody has cameras now on their phone. Everybody has a camera in their pocket. So things are getting exposed that weren't exposed before. And to your comment of why isn't the government and the healthcare groups using these kind of tools, it's a matter of time. Unfortunately, they're some of the last people to ever adopt anything. But it's a matter of time until that kind of stuff happens.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, you should go start that company right now. You'll be a billionaire.
Well, you can explain a lot just by reading and studying line queuing theory by MBAs. I mean, simple line queuing is, like when you go to a bank, one line, everybody lines up one line and then breaks out to the next available teller. That's the most efficient line. A bad line is when, like at McDonald's, where you got to, line up and then find out you're in the slow line and the guy in front of you, or whatever. But in line queuing theory, what's most amazing is all the lines are always found in government and healthcare. I mean, you get a pizza delivered in 30 minutes. I mean, but when you study line theory, all the lines are pretty much in government and healthcare. Why is that? Which you could just almost say, based on line queuing theory, that government and healthcare are the least efficient industries in the world.
They totally are. And I can tell you from all the venture capitalists that I speak with, healthcare is at the near top, along with virtual reality and augmented reality, as things that they want to invest in because they see the inefficiencies. And there's this theory that software is eating the world in different ways. I mean, software has come into thermostats, like Nest, of all things that people would never say that needs software, that needs to be connected to the internet. But it's just a matter of time, and the money is flowing into healthcare to start doing these things. It's kind of an exciting time for
and that was the
dentistry.
backlash of Obamacare. I mean, the beauty of Obamacare was that you could get covered with a pre-existing condition. And in my practice, I had a dozen people literally break to tears on how happy they were because the man and the wife, neither of them, they own their own business. He had a bout with cancer before, so did his wife. No one would insure them. So getting rid of a pre-existing condition, that was a beautiful thing that over 10 million people jumped on. But what was crazy is they didn't attack one cost structure. And, they could have reduced costs so many ways. I mean, every time someone brings in their dental insurance, you got to call a monkey at the insurance company, and your monkey's talking to their monkey, and the back and forth, and you're like, they didn't do one thing to reduce cost. And
Yep.
so then when all the costs went up because 10 million sick people got insured and the price went up 25%, it was a huge backlash. And it was like, how do you have incompetent government get incompetent healthcare to be more efficient? It's all going to come from the private sector, isn't it?
I believe so. I think the private sector needs to come in and do these things. People that see the problems, that aren't in a position, they're not in a position to lose. So the people kind of running all these things, they want to maintain a position they're in. And so they're willing to concede on certain things, whereas somebody else who comes in that's living it, bring in some like 18-year-old, 20, 30, 40-year-old that's in software and can spot the inefficiencies, given the capital, given the resources, and you'd be surprised how quick things can get fixed. I mean, the website, when Obamacare launched, they tried to develop that, and it totally failed. Then they brought in a bunch of software, they let software developers run it, and they were able to do it at a fraction of the cost and keep it up and running full time. So, yeah, it's mind-boggling.
So if my homies go to getweave.com, Are they going to get a weave? What are they going to find on getweave.com? By the way, was that named after a hair weave, or how did you get the name weave? Weaving the.
So exactly. We thought we're going to weave everything together: phone system, dental software, text messaging, basically anything that made sense to bring into our system. And when you weave things together, they're stronger. And so that's kind of the whole idea behind the name of our company. When you go to the website, you're going to see everything from videos on what Weave offers. You're going to be able to read and find out about the dental industry and how we provide the solution for it. You can request a demo on our website. When you request a demo, you're going to get a call from one of our salespeople here in Utah. They're going to answer your questions. They'll actually get you in front of the product. We'll do a screen share with you. So as long as you're in front of your computer, we'll share Weave with you and actually walk you through it, show you the software, how it works, everything. So
I just retweeted your at getweave on Twitter. 98% of text messages are open, opposed to only 22% of emails. That is, I mean, anybody has teenage kids knows that texting and smartphones is now 51%, whereas the PC is 49%, right?
yeah, yep. And not only that, but the speed of response is drastically faster too. You respond faster to a text message than you do to an email.
So what's next? You're looking for more funding? What's your next move? Your end game? How are you gonna pay $23 million of venture capitalists back?
Well,
Do they want their money back, or was it a donation?
that would have been cool if it was a donation. No, it's a financial transaction. They're looking for a return on their capital. And as of right now, we are growing like crazy. So people are starting to catch the vision of Weave, consolidating everything, not spending as much as they're spending for all of those individual solutions. And as long as we keep growing, they're happy. So paying back the $23 million is not going to be a difficult thing, given the fact of where we are today and how fast we're growing.
So they've given you this $23 million. Does it automatically mean that it's an IPO? It means it can just be a profitable business, and they'll own the. Don't they have a short time where they want to flip it in 5 years?
So they're looking for a return on their investment. That means some sort of liquidity event. That can be somebody else coming in and buying them out. That can be an IPO. That can be a merger. It can be any of those things. But there's a lot of companies that become standalone companies. I do believe the path for Weave is an IPO. I think Weave as a platform, providing communication tools all in one place, not just for dentists, but for all small businesses, is the way things need to go. And there needs to be a company providing that. Imagine, I think about it as myself as a consumer, as the one going to the dentist, as the one going to a restaurant and communicating with those people. How would I want to communicate with them? And that drives a lot of how we develop, a lot of the decisions we make. And it's got to improve from where it's at today. It's just a matter of time, and it's a matter of who's going to do it. We have the momentum, we have the product, and I think for us, we're not going anywhere.
Hey, I really like that video on your website. There's a big blue button, schedule a demo, but there's another one, watch the video. I think we should put that video on the end of this podcast.
Awesome. I'd love it. Go for it.
Because that's a real succinct video. And also, the thing with you dentists listening, especially the younger ones, is that you tell your staff something, you're an idiot because they see you burping and farting and being a human. But they always listen to anyone 100 miles away from home with a briefcase, a suit and tie. They're all the experts. So if you're going to pitch this to your front office, I would go show them this video and say, hey, what do you think of this? And let them watch someone else pitch the idea. Because when a monkey pitches an idea to the monkey they live with, you're just a monkey. But if you're a monkey all the way from Utah, oh my gosh, he's a genius because he's 100 miles away from home. So you want us to put that video on the end of this?
Sure. Love it.
Yeah. And another thing is, so you got 2,800 customers, 2,600 are dentists, but you're crushing it now in optometry. what parallels, what business lessons could dentists learn from optometrists? They're generally not covered by medical insurance, right?
So they're not. I mean, occasionally, I personally don't pay for vision insurance. Our healthcare insurance covers it, but I don't see an optometrist myself. Um, the interesting thing is optometry is a much smaller industry. So you look at 150,000 plus dental offices in the US, there's only like 30 or 40,000 optometry locations. Optometrists don't get some of the, if dentistry feels slow for adopting technology, optometry is even slower and getting that technology. So optometrists, from what we've seen, oftentimes look up to the technology that's being used in dentistry, hoping that they can get it. But the parallels are all, if you can provide a good service, and this is from my standpoint, you've got to be competent on the dental side. On the clinical side, you need to know what you're doing. You need to be able to do it well. You need to keep educating yourself. But it's going to come down to a lot of people skills and business knowledge. Being able to run a business, being able to attract patients, being able to get them to like your business, like you, stay loyal. Those things are similar across all small businesses. And then the clinical portion is something that has to be there, and you need to be good at it. But a lot of it's people skills.
Oh, it's so much people skills because they don't even know when you're bad.
Exactly.
I mean, some of these dentists that I know. I mean, there's dentists in my backyard that do $2 million a year and are far below average dentist. And then there's dentists that just are the best. I mean, the best, and they're doing $400,000 a year because they're the people and the business processes are zero.
Yeah.
But they believe
Yep.
that if you build it, they will come. They believe that if you're the best dentist in the world, everybody will figure it out, and it just ain't so. And some of the, but the lessons back to Obamacare is that um, the physicians in Phoenix and Arizona. I mean, the customer service is horrible. You know, every counter you go to, it's a window. They open up the window, they hand you a chart like you're a goat or a pig. They don't even make eye contact. It's just pathetic. But the people that aren't relying all on medical insurance, the dentist, the optometrist, the vets, the chiropractors, they're so much a whole nother level of sophistication than the average 1 million MDs in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just at an entirely different level. And the optometrists also start dealing with corporate dentistry, you know, back when I was a kid. I mean, you know, those what are some of the big change? Eye Masters, Lee. What are some? I mean, those things have been around for 30 years. So those optometrists had to adjust to corporate. These big, well-funded, doing everything right chains, you know, decades before dentists even knew what the hell it was. And I just think they're great. And the vets and the chiropractic, same thing. Like you walk by a chiropractor's office in Phoenix, and they usually have some sign out by the door. It might be by the street. They're just better with advertising. They have to do it all because
Yeah.
they just haven't settled for the typical insurance, medical insurance, business as usual.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I honestly think when you compare against corporate dentistry, against just corporations in general in the healthcare space, if you can hire a good staff, a good team, that's going to take care of most of the problems.
okay, so give me your final close about why my homies. You're talking to thousands and thousands of dentists. Just this show's in 150 countries, but you're talking to a lot of American dentists. Give me your final pitch on why they should go to getweave.com.
All right. So go to getweave.com, sign up with us because you're already paying for us, but you're paying a lot more for us without actually having us. So you're paying for phone service that does not sync with your dental software. You're paying for appointment reminders or confirmations. You're paying $370, potentially almost $400 a month for that. If you're not doing Google and Facebook reviews, you're missing a big opportunity. Anybody else is going to charge you $300 a month for that. You're going to be paying over $1,000 a month for something we can give you for $450 a month and do it much, much better. So at least take a look at us.
And then I want to give a final close to your young son, because I grew up with 5 sisters. My little baby brother wasn't born until I was 17, and that's why I don't believe in democracy, because I'd be the only vote for Monday Night Football, and all 5 of them would vote for Little House on the Prairie, and then I'd have to go to my room and cry. And tell your son that when he can't take being outvoted by 3 sisters to 1, that he can always move to Phoenix and live with Uncle Howie.
All right, I will do that.
Because this is an all-boy house. It's 4 boys, 3 cats, and 2 turtles. Tell him if he can't take 3 sisters voting down everything. Because it was, I mean, everything. Like, oh my gosh, I go on forever. But I'm not a big fan of democracy. Growing up with 5 girls and me only having 1 out of 6 votes.
That is hilarious. I'm going to tell my wife about that too.
And then we'll put that YouTube video on. But hey, I know you're a damn busy man, and it is such an honor that you would take an hour of your life to come spend it with me and my homies today. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you making time for me.
All right. And first quarter of 2017, we've already made the decision. We're switching from soft dent to open dental and installing Weave.
Awesome. Happy to have you.
Okay, buddy.
Welcome to Weave.
Okay. Thanks for coming on my show.
Patient relationships matter, and showing patients you care makes them feel valued, which in turn benefits the practice. Weave is a simple communication tool that makes running the front office easier while strengthening relationships with your patients. When a patient calls your office, Weave displays who's calling. No need to ask how to spell their name or put them on hold to look up their info. It instantly prompts you with relevant patient details, preparing you for more efficient, more meaningful interactions. And it highlights upcoming or missed appointments so you can remind or reschedule them while on the call. Weave even reminds you of outstanding balances so payments can be collected while patients are still on the phone. And it remembers important details like birthdays so that they know you care. With Weave, staying in touch means real conversations that help you be more efficient and provide the service experience patients want. And checking the schedule can happen whenever, wherever you want. Weave makes life simple for you and better for your patients, from the moment they call to the moment they walk into the office. Meet Weave, the beautiful, simple way to keep your chairs full and your patients happy.